In this video, I'm going to walk you through the paycheck routine that I have used for years to maximize my money. Let's get started. Do you ever feel like your paycheck comes and goes faster than Usain Bolt winning the Olympic gold? 1 minute the money is there, next minute, poof, it somehow magically disappears. I get it, it happens. We are here to find a solution. So first things first, we gotta find your financial baseline. Now, before you start eyeing for that vacation package or make any other plans for that freshly deposited paycheck, we need to find your financial baseline. This number will become your guide not just for this routine, but for your overall relationship with money moving forward. Your financial baseline represents the bare minimum monthly cost that is required to keep lights on, stay reasonably fed, and handle any non-negotiable expenses. I have included a template for you in the video description below, so be sure to download it and take action right away. We are talking about essentials like housing, utilities, food, insurance, and debt payments only here. Hold off tallying up your gym memberships, Hulu subscription, daily coffee runs, and other more splurgy items for now. We start by writing down numbers next to each of those baseline living expense categories I have just mentioned. If need be, go ahead, dig through your bank and credit card statements from the past 3 months to give you an accurate view of your costs. So once you have your monthly averages for each essential expense, add them all up. Your total is the financial baseline number. Pretty simple math, but incredibly powerful. Knowing this baseline amount lets you gauge what leftover income that you have to spend however you choose. Building this foundational awareness around true expense is the first step of any solid personal finance routine. So, for example, if your total monthly take-home pay is about $5,000 and your baseline expenses shakes out to be about $3,000, that leaves you with $2,000 left over each month for other stuff. Make sense? Cool, then let's move on to our next piece of the paycheck routine, which is to build an emergency fund. With your baseline already handled, it's now time to start building up an emergency fund if you don't already have one. And I know, building an emergency fund when you're trying to pay off loans or try to take an exciting vacation might not sound like the most thrilling use of extra money, but having a healthy emergency fund prevents you from spiraling into high interest debt when unexpected stuff pops up. And trust me, with Murphy's Law in full effect, expenses like a sudden job loss, major car repair bills, or medical issues can hit when you least expect them. According to the Bankrate survey, only 41% of Americans have enough emergency savings to cover an unexpected $1,000 expense. Don't be part of that 59% who don't. Even $500 to $1,000 in starter emergency funds helps you create a good buffer. Then you can steadily build towards the ultimate goal of having 3 to 6 months of baseline living expenses saved. Now, this emergency cash gives you breathing room if you are out of work for an extended period of time. Okay, now let's talk logistics. Where exactly should this money be staying? I would recommend a high yield savings account, and the reason for this is because it offers the best blend of return, flexibility, and security for your emergency cash. The interest rate might only be 2% instead of 10%, but hey, that's the trade-off for keeping your money accessible and with low risk. So all you gotta do is to automate a small percentage of each paycheck to go straight into your designated emergency fund account before you even spend a dime. Set it and forget it. Alright, so you've now got your baseline handled and your emergency fund started, and now I hear you asking, what now? To answer your question, we pay down debt. So next up in your newly minted payday routine, make a debt demolition plan. We are talking about credit card balances, student loans, personal loans. That high interest debt can seriously stand in the way of your financial freedom. Nearly 80% of Americans are in debt, with an average household owing about $90,000 between mortgages, student loans, personal loans, and so on. I mean, for mortgages, I'm pretty torn, and the reason is because it's still asset-backed. You could sell it with some capital appreciation, or maybe even rent it out and cover your mortgages. So I wouldn't really put too much of a focus on that, but your personal loans, student loans, and credit cards, it gotta go. Okay, so back to the whole debt demolition plan I've mentioned. If you have existing debts, commit to consistently paying above the minimum due every single month to knock them out faster. If you think paying above the minimum due is still not something of a possibility, you can do what I did. So basically, when I was a bit younger and less careful with money, I started using credit cards like as though it was my own income. So, being a self-employed and an entrepreneur, there are times where money doesn't come the time that it needs to come to pay my bills. So what happens? I start resorting to either getting some personal loans or swiping the credit card. Once the credit card is swiped, I think I'm going to make the payment next month, but again, money doesn't come in to make that payment. So what ends up happening is take up another credit card and then start swiping and swiping and swiping. And then I realized I am now in $35,000 in debt, which means I'm so stuck. And I did try to make payments every single month until I realized that, hey, the principal amount is just not going down. When I sat down to actually do the calculation, including some of the late fees and some pesky fees here and there, I started realizing that they are not just charging 24%, effectively it's almost 26 to 28%. And then I realized that there's no way I'm going to fight this uphill battle. So I did what I should do. I went to take up a personal loan worth $35,000, took it, dumped it, ended the entire credit card. So now basically what I've just done is I now have a definitive period that my entire debt can be over, which is 3 years to pay off the $35,000, and I've got a fixed amount to pay and I don't need to worry anymore. And I felt like this was the best option for me, and it worked out really fine for me. So if you're in a similar situation, I would urge you to consider that strategy. Now, sticking with an aggressive debt payoff strategy now frees up financial margin that allows you to do way more cooler stuff later. If you have multiple debt, tackle them in order of high interest rate. Pay the debt with the highest interest first, then once the balance hits zero, roll the payment amount to the next high interest debt. We call this method the debt avalanche method because it's flowing down. Now, this mathematically optimized order saves you the most amount of money on interest payments over time. But staying motivated is still critical with any debt plan. So if seeing small wins gets you fired up, then try knocking off your smallest debt first and then move on to the next. This method is called the debt snowball method. Basically, it rolls into something big. Just make sure to still pay minimums on all other debts while you attack one balance aggressively. Either debt approach can work as long as you stick with it. Alright, now we are cruising. You've got your baseline understanding locked, emergency fund started, and a debt demolition plan in place. Now let's switch gears to start talking about investment. I know you might be thinking, investing? How do I invest when I'm still in debt or hardly any cash to spare each month? If you say I don't think I can afford it, I will tell you, you can't afford to wait any longer. So here's the thing, right? Investing early and consistently, even when you don't have much extra income, is one of the smartest money moves that you can make. Thanks to the power of compounding growth over decades, any money you invest in the stock market today can grow exponentially over time. We are talking about hundreds of thousands, if not millions, down the road. But I get it, okay? Investing anything right now might sound impossible if your budget is tight. And that's why we need to prioritize the next steps. So listen up. Even if you can only afford to invest 5 or even 10% of your income right now, just do it. And pro tip, set up automatic contributions from your paycheck so that the money silently flows into investments each month without any effort on your part. After you've done that, open and start funding a Roth IRA retirement account. Roth IRAs help your money grow 100% tax-free for retirement down the road. At your age, the long runway for compounding growth makes any money you stage there incredibly powerful. For beginner investors like myself, I always recommend low-cost diversified ETFs or even mutual funds that you can set and forget. I use a similar method and I'm able to achieve 19% per annum. Taking this hands-off approach helps weather stock market storms without panic selling. Okay, so just a quick recap. Get your full company retirement plan match, fund a Roth IRA account, invest in diversified low-cost index funds, and automate contributions. Then you profit. And now we're going to talk about the priceless asset that everyone has, which is your time. Now, you might be wondering, why are we talking about time management and productivity in the middle of a personal finance routine? Well, excellent question. But here's the deal. Money and time have an interconnected relationship. Now, at the end of the day, you are trading hours of your life to get money through your job or your business. Then you take that money to buy time-saving convenience like Uber Eats instead of grocery shopping and cooking for yourself. See where I'm going with this? Often managing money right comes down to smart time optimization. And we only get so many hours in this life. So here are 3 strategies to optimize your time and ultimately boost your money situation too. First, you identify your income to your hourly rate. So let's just say, for example, if you earn $50,000 annually, we divide that with 2,080 hours, typically the kind of worked hours per year. Now, in this example, it would work out to be around $24 per hour. So knowing your per hour value allows you to determine if hiring out a task makes more financial sense than you doing it yourself. Let's say it takes about 3 hours each month to clean your home at $24 an hour in value. That's $72 worth of your time spent dusting, vacuuming, scrubbing, toilets, and etc. But if you could hire a cleaning service to handle all of that for just $100, in this scenario, paying a little more for a house cleaning service that actually will do a far better job than you, I think it's kind of a good decision. Now, that reclaimed time affords you opportunities to pursue passion projects or even side hustles. Now, see how smartly swapping out tasks links together time and money optimization? Next, think how you can realistically cut expenses by doing things yourself. For example, instead of dropping $15 on restaurant lunches every single workday, meal prepping your lunch could save you nearly $300 annually. Now that's $300 more towards hitting bigger goals. Remember, you are asking, where can I find more money to invest? You've got your answer. Now, finally, double down on essential time and energy management tactics, like scheduling out your weeks as well as your days. Staying purposeful about where your hours go ensures you have fuel in the tank to stick with positive mental habits too. Remember, it's a marathon and not a sprint. Alright, we now have the framework laid for maximizing both your money and time. But what happens when life inevitably throws distractions or unexpected chaos our way? Great question. Building any new routine takes serious grit and commitment in those early stages, and it's easy to get off track when life gets crazy. And that's why automating pieces of your financial world is such a game changer. Setting up automatic transfers or scheduled bill payment removes the need to manually move money around each month. You can put your paycheck routine on autopilot, freeing up mental bandwidth for other priorities. Now, here are some specific ways to effectively automate pieces of your financial world. Know your exact take-home pay. Log into your payroll site or check your recent pay stub to determine your exact net monthly income after all tax and deductions. Base your automatic savings and spending amounts in the next steps of this number. Next, you create 2 bank accounts. Open a dedicated spending account and a savings account if you haven't already done so. This splits the incoming cash into money intended for regular spending and long-term savings. Then you automate account transfers. Set up automatic transfers to instantly distribute each paycheck between these 2 accounts, keeping spending money separate from savings. Then you automate bill pay. Arrange for fixed bills like rent, car payments, utilities, etc. to auto-deduct from your spending account monthly. Removing the effort of manually handling each bill prevents late fees and frees up our mental space. Next, automate debt repayments. Similarly, set all applicable student loan, personal loan, or credit card payments to auto-pay the planned monthly amount. Adjust it upward if you wish to accelerate your debt payoff. Then we automate investments. Select auto invest options for retirement accounts or taxable brokerage funds. This sticks to the set it and forget it method for long-term compound growth. Then we look into automate savings. So here you choose auto save options that move leftover cash from the spending account into your separate savings account at the end of each month. Do you see the magic here? Autopilot as much as possible. This allows you to go on autopilot so that your money keeps working hard for you even when you are focused on other areas of life, which is the way it should be. Sticking to the paycheck routine and automation I have just outlined takes the effort and uncertainty out of managing money. When in doubt, always return to these foundational personal finance steps. Rinse and repeat each month without having to constantly intervene or check your spending. That's how real wealth building starts to happen. Now, go get that money, my friend. So if you really like this video, hit the like button and subscribe. I would love to hear your comments, and I sincerely hope, like every other video that I create, that this video helps you. If there's someone that you think this video might help, please do share it as well. I'll see you on the next one.